We're now going to use the graphs of quadratic equations to find information about the function. And so we're going to start with the graph found here. And this graph is a graph of the function f of x equals minus 2x squared plus 8x minus 5. So what we want to do is we first want to find the domain and range of the graph using just the graph, and then we want to solve the inequality. Minus 2x squared plus 8x minus 5 is bigger than 0. So we're looking at the graph, and notice we got this nicely defined graph. We also know some other things. We know its vertex is right here. Here's our intercepts for our x-intercepts, and here's our y-intercept. But specifically for the domain and range, notice that for the domain, we're looking horizontal. Domain is always left to right. And this is going to keep going to the left, and it's going to keep going to the right. So this goes from minus infinity to infinity, so that's our domain. Our range is up, down, so it's going to go up and down. And notice that it keeps going down, so it's going to go to minus infinity. And it stops all the way up at 3. And so we go from minus infinity to 3, and that 0.3 is included. Notice I'm taking the y value of it. So using just the graph, I can get the domain real easy, and I can get the range real easy, the up-down. The last part is the inequality, and we want to know when the output of this function is greater than 0. Well, here's 0, so we want to know when it's greater than 0, so we want to know when it's up here. And so the part of the graph that works is this part right here. So from here to here, so it's between our x-intercepts. So the x-intercepts end up being the points used when we're solving quadratic inequalities. So in this case, it goes from 4 minus the square root of x over 2 to 4 plus the square root of 6, not x, over 2. So 4 minus the square root of 6 over 2 and 4 plus the square root of 6 over 2. And that gives us our answer. And so when we're looking at this graph, we can get all this great information. The other thing is, what if we just have a graph and we don't know anything else about it? Well, what we want to be able to figure out is the signs of A, B, and C. Well, A is easy. Because it's going down, we know that A is less than 0, so A is negative. And we know that H, this point right here, is equal to minus B over 2A, and it needs to be negative as well. And so H has to be negative because it's over here on the left side. It's a negative x value. It's to the left of this. And we know that A is negative, so a negative divided by a negative, not a negative 1, just a negative, we don't know anything else about it, is positive, so this means that B needs to be negative as well. So we have a negative, and a negative, which will equal a negative. Notice I'm only dealing with the signs. I'm not worried about their values. And the last thing that we need to look at is C. So we know A is negative, we know B is negative. Well, C is our y-intercept. That's right here. And notice it's above the line. That means C is positive. So just knowing where the graph is tells us a little bit about A, B, and C.